Wilks!
Oh. Hey, how's it going, Super Sentai fans? Regan Wilks, Autism Productions here, that's why RWAP, aka Regan Wilks 54. Happy first day of May, everyone. So today, I'm going to react to the messy history of the first Super Sentai Toku Misconceptions by Kami Circus. Okay, so I know like 2 years ago when I was 16 and a half, when I did like some Super Sentai videos, like explaining, like one of the explain videos I did react to, and Power Ranger spin-offs explain I did react to last 2 years ago when I was 16 and a half. So yeah. So anyways, so original link in the description, and don't forget to subscribe, and let's go. Alright.
If you've spent any significant amount of time in the Super Sentai fandom, there's two fun facts that you've probably heard. They've more or less become common knowledge among Tokusatsu fans at this point.
Salty.
The first goes a little like this. When the Super Sentai series first started, the first team in the franchise wasn't actually Goranger.
Yeah, I got the classic manga collection.
But rather Battle Fever J.
It's by 7
According
Seas.
to this claim, the Super in the Super Sentai title refers to the giant robots. Goranger and JAKQ didn't have robots, so they were just plain Sentai series. It was not until 1995 that Toei decided to honor Goranger's 20th anniversary by retroactively declaring the first Super Sentai and JAKQ the second. The other claim you may have heard is tangentially related. It says that actually there is a third lost Sentai series between Goranger and JAKQ, a lesser-known show named Ninja Captor. According to some, this was
never watched Ninja Captor before, because I did heard it was uploaded on YouTube by Toei Tokusatsu World Official with English subtitles.
Actually true? No, not really. No. Like, in the interest of not clickbaiting you, both claims are misconceptions. There is a bit of nuance to them, however, and a very interesting history to how they might have come to be. And that is what we're going to be exploring today. Before we go any further, I would like to credit Reddit user 11Sarge, who made a very detailed post researching these very misconceptions, which is what brought them to our attention. 11Sarge gave their blessing for us to use said post as the basis for this video.
Oh.
So, I said that Battle Fever was not, originally, the first Super Sentai. That statement was false.
I mean, it's the third one. I mean, I know, like,
that's wrong, right?
with Marvel, with Denshiman,
look at the Turboranger premiere. That was the very first Super Sentai anniversary crossover.
Oh yeah, that episode before.
That Battle Fever was.
Oh yeah, that's the first episode of Kousoku Sentai Turboranger.
There was a time when Battle Fever was called the first Super Sentai.
Before third.
Originally the first.
Known as.
That's a bit of a confusing statement, so let's go back to the beginning and give a quick recap of early Sentai history. During the 70s, Toei was producing one superhero show after another, many with the involvement of the king of manga himself, Shotaro Ishinomori. These Ishinomori
and the creator of Kamen
included
Rider.
2 superhero team shows. He meets Sentai Goranger in 1975 and JAKQ Dengekitai in 1977. While Goranger proved popular, JAKQ didn't fare nearly as well. So Toei decided not to make any more of these TV shows.
The crossover movie.
Instead, they focused on partnering with Marvel to create Spider-Man. This show was wildly successful, largely for the inclusion of a giant robot named Leopardon. This inspired Toei, now without Ishinomori's involvement, to put the two concepts together into Battle Fever J, a team of multicolored superheroes with a giant robot. I mean, that's the first Super Sentai Megazord. Successors,
because Goranger and JAKQ doesn't have a Megazord.
At which point
because Mighty Morphin had their own, the first Megazord, like based on Goranger.
This is where reality begins to diverge from the misconception. What you'll commonly be told is that Super Sentai only referred to the teams with giant robots. That is to say, from Battle Fever onward. However, looking at magazines and promotional material from the early 80s plainly proves this to be a mistake. As I mentioned, the name Super Sentai was first coined during Sun Vulcan in 1981, and promotional materials from
that's one of the
1981
concept
plainly show
pictures.
that Sun Vulcan was, from the beginning, advertised as the 5th in the franchise, succeeding Goranger, JAKQ, Battle Fever, and Tenji Man. Toei was consistent about this throughout most of the 80s. Take a look at this VHS collection from 1985, titled Super Sentai Graffiti. Each of these tapes was meant to showcase 3 Super Sentai. Note, the word super is present. And the first tape was, in fact, Goranger, JAKQ, and Battle Fever. Now look at this promotional material for Flashman, aired in 1986, which celebrates it as the 10th entry in the Super Sentai franchise. Once again, note the repeated usage of the full term, Super Sentai. So, that pretty definitively settles it, right? From the very beginning, the first 2 Super Sentai were considered to be Goranger and JAKQ, with Battle Fever as the 3rd. By extension, this proves the Super did not actually refer to the giant robots, but to the superheroes themselves. Clearly that's not the full story, though. How can it be? What about that Turboranger special? I mean, that was the first major crossover between these shows in a televised story, and it says, clear as day in plain Japanese, that the first installment was Battle Fever. Well, this next part is a bit trickier. We do not actually have all of the details, unfortunately.
There's a concept of the
but
mechas.
It all seems to come down to rights issues.
Like, they used to call it, like, mechas, like, for Megazords. I mean, it's okay.
And by extension, they were co-productions
because I could say mecha.
Toei and Ishinomori's own company, Ishimori Pro. However, neither Ishinomori nor Ishimori Pro was involved in the series from Battle Fever onward. Battle Fever through Sun Vulcan were co-produced with Marvel, while every series
I did learn
was solely the work of Toei.
a lot of Super Sentai. It's before Power Rangers was the adaptation.
To this name.
Like with Dino Fury, the season 28 to season 29 as the second season.
Not a real person, but a pseudonym used by Toei.
Bro, this man is fake.
From what we can
Bro, what was
gather,
that?
and keep in mind, this is largely speculative. Sometime in the latter half of the 1980s, Toei and Ishimori Pro presumably had a disagreement over whether Ishimori Pro's 2 series should be lumped in with the rest, which they had no involvement with. To avoid trouble, Toei decided to rebrand Battle Fever as the first entry in the Super Sentai franchise, and no longer use that name for Goranger and JAKQ. Of course, when you rebrand, you have to make it clear to audiences, so they celebrated Super Sentai's 10th anniversary again in 1988 and 89, this time with Battle Fever.
Yeah, somehow, like, one of the anniversaries hadn't made a mistake, but if that's okay, it was like before Goranger and JAKQ became the first and second. I think it's one of the Japanese books about 10th anniversary of the Sentai shows. I mean, Goranger to Flashman, and now Battle Fever to Liveman at the 10th. I mean,
lumping them together under an umbrella
like
term.
any years
Not as a unified
back
franchise, but in a broader category of Toei hero shows. To this end, they came up with the
now
label
Hasbro
Chōseiki
owns
Zen Sentai.
Super Sentai.
They started using this label in mid-1993 during the run of Gosei Sentai Dairanger.
I love Dairanger.
Fun facts, this
It was like the best season of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 2.
Dairanger's run advertised it as the 15th series, while materials from the middle of its run
it's the
advertised it as
17th series, yeah.
Which is kind of amusing.
Sometimes it like to make mistakes.
Anyway, photo books released
Like any
under the name
what
Chōseiki
series
Zen
had their own
Sentai
anniversary,
included
but
an
fine.
explanation that it was an umbrella term for what was now considered 2 franchises. The Sentai series, created by Shotaro Ishinomori, and the Super Sentai series, created by Saburo Yatsude. This retroactive change is where we get the assumption that the Super in Super Sentai always referred to the robots. The Chōseiki Zen Sentai label only lasted for about a year and a half. Possibly as a result of Shotaro Ishinomori's diagnosis of malignant lymphoma, Ishimori Pro agreed to give Toei the right to incorporate Goranger and JAKQ with the rest of the Super Sentai franchise once again. As a result, 1995's Oranger was billed as the 20th anniversary celebration of the franchise,
On
with
April
Goranger
6th,
serving as year 1.
1975.
Since then, Goranger has consistently been treated as the first Super Sentai, once again. Ishimori Pro retains involvement in the franchise, of course, and are credited in all Sentai productions.
Goranger!
I
love Goranger
adaptations of said productions.
and
For
Super
instance,
Mega Force.
Ishimori Pro is credited in Power Rangers Super Mega Force.
Oh, I
In
didn't
these
notice
cases,
that.
Shouldero Ishinomori
Is what it
received
says in the
special
credits.
thanks
I mean, like some
for a
clips, like where the
co-creator
final battle
alongside
begins
Saburo Yatsuda.
in Super Mega Force after
Yeah.
the Japanese
Where
movie
does
of
this leave
Goranger
Ninja
versus Goranger.
I mentioned
Like the
this
beginning
show
of the
earlier,
battle before
thankfully it's a
Goranger
much
versus
simpler
Goranger.
matter to solve. Ninja Captor was a Toei Team Hero show
I mean, that explains a
aired
lot.
in 1976. During
For
the run of
Shotaro
Goranger.
Ishinomori as the Japanese
In
Stan
the
Lee.
80s, 2 issues of Keibunsha Encyclopedia,
Yeah.
a third-party licensed
Like,
magazine
related.
that covered tokusatsu, listed Ninja Captor among the Super Sentai, specifically as the
Ninja
second.
Captor is not part of the Sentai.
This
It's
is
lost
seemingly just a
Sentai.
mistake on the publisher's part. No publications aside from these 2 issues ever called Ninja Captor a Sentai, and the error likely
Like,
stems
it
from
doesn't
how
show the
similar
Sentai
show
in the
is to
logo
franchise.
title.
Ninja Captor does, however, have one notable spot in Sentai history. It was the first superhero team show created by Saburo Yatsuda, making it a sort of precursor to Battle Fever, you could say. This is why, despite Ninja Captor not being
it's
Sentai,
true.
it did receive an homage in Zenkaiger, the 45th anniversary Sentai series, with the character
I
of
love
Kaiser
Zenkaiger.
being based on Ninja Captor's Fire Captor 7. It's very easy, especially in
I didn't notice
foreign
that.
language shows.
Oh,
for
okay, so-
second and third-hand assumptions and speculation.
My God.
To be elevated
I
to
mean,
the
like
status
how
of
it got
common
rebooted into
knowledge.
different eras,
Hopefully.
like one of the
the tale
Kikaider's
of the
in his
first
era
Super
with
Sentai
Kamen Rider
serves as a
team up
reminder.
thing
You can't
and
always
Ninja
take
Captor,
family knowledge
the
for granted.
leader, the fire
The
one,
truth
and
is often far
Zenkaiger.
more complex.
I mean, somehow like in the
And
different
sometimes
eras
it
of
can even be more
like all
fascinating.
Kamen Rider and Super Sentai.
Thank you so much for watching. As you can probably tell, this is not Cammy speaking. I am Glenn.
Okay, that explains a lot. I mean, that do really explains a lot. So I got into it just like my dad, but it's okay. So, that explains a lot how Goranger was the first Sentai, before Battle Fever J was the first to the third. I mean, I know like how it makes sense, how somehow it's a little bit screwed up, for which first Sentai it was supposed to be, but yeah. I mean, that too explains a lot because I do remember, I mean, I did lots of Super Sentai explained videos. I did react to 2 years ago when I was 16 and a half, so yeah. So, if you guys know, hit the like, favorite, comments down below, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications for the first day of May 1st, and later! Boop.